Have you ever noticed how some days just seem to go against you? The alarm doesn't go off, your hot drink spills, traffic grinds to a halt, and it feels like the universe has decided to put you to the test. But what if I told you it's not the universe opposing you, but rather that your vibrational frequency is out of alignment? All of existence is made up of energy. Every thought, every feeling, every word you utter, everything resonates at a specific vibrational pattern. The principle is simple, yet so powerful it almost sounds unbelievable. Change your energy, and the entire cosmos will reorganize itself to reflect that shift. You are a constant emitter of energy, even if you're not aware of it. In every moment of your life, you radiate a vibrational message to the cosmos, and that message is the language the universe deciphers with absolute clarity. It's like a radio station, the universe never fails to receive. It precisely returns the vibration you send out. When you vibrate from a place of lack, it exposes you to more situations of deprivation. When you vibrate from a place of gratitude, it gives you more reasons to be thankful. And this is why so many find themselves stuck in what seem like never-ending patterns, not because of a predefined destiny, but because they haven't understood that within them lies the structure that creates their very reality. Contemporary science has already clarified this: existence is fundamentally energy. Every thought, every feeling, every expression carries a unique frequency. Studies from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology have shown that tiny particles change their behavior according to the perception of the observer. This indicates that the mere act of observing something already modifies how the substance manifests. If such a phenomenon occurs at the most minute level, then imagine the consequence of your mental outlook on the universe you build daily. The way you conceive and perceive, in fact, modulates the energetic field that surrounds you. I remember one occasion when everything seemed to fall apart. The alarm failed, the car wouldn't start, the month's most crucial meeting began without me. Internally, the old narrative whispered, "It's always like this, nothing ever goes right." But in that precise moment, I chose to act differently. I closed my eyes, took a deep breath, and redirected my attention. Instead of complaining, I expressed gratitude for the chance to practice patience. I put on a calming melody, mentally projected a favorable outcome, and thought, perhaps the cosmos is just preparing me for something greater. The vibration around me instantly transformed. When I finally walked into the meeting, I noticed the client was receptive, curious, and open. I left with the most significant professional deal of my career up to that point. And understand, it wasn't by chance, it was alignment. We don't attract what we yearn for, but rather what we embody vibrationally. If your mind is saturated with apprehension, serenity cannot be received. If your feelings are dominated by fear, the cosmos has no means to reciprocate with courage. Every perception, every emotion, constitutes a message sent to the quantum realm, and that realm merely re-emits the resonance of what you transmit. For this reason, complaining is not harmless. Every time you vocalize a lament, you are solidifying the vibrational pattern that perpetuates the same circumstances. It's like a scenario where the universe functions as a vast vibrational mirror. It doesn't judge, it doesn't discern between what's beneficial or harmful, it simply replicates. The question is, what are you presenting to that reflective surface? Do you wake up pondering debts, delays, and adversities, or do you begin the day with a simple feeling of gratitude for the gift of life? The disparity between these two attitudes is immense. An unfavorable thought carries a vibrational charge so dense it can alter your environment for several hours, while a thought of appreciation is subtle and expansive, capable of completely transforming the trajectory of your day. A monumental change isn't necessary to readjust your energy. Sometimes, a modest initiative is enough. Pause for a few seconds, close your eyes, and evoke something positive. It could be the embrace of a loved one, the morning aroma of coffee, the memory of a success. Allow that feeling to permeate your being. Can you notice how your chest expands, how your breathing softens? This is the moment your vibration begins its transition. And when such a phenomenon occurs, the cosmos reacts immediately. I've witnessed this phenomenon in countless individuals. People who believed nothing would ever go right, and who habitually repeated, "I'm incapable, I'm not allowed, I'm not worthy." And it was enough for them to begin redirecting their attention, to adjust their emotional state, for previously blocked paths to open up. Possibilities that seemed unattainable sprang up without warning. But nothing emerges from a vacuum, everything comes from energy. Have you ever wondered why, in moments of contentment, people seem to treat you with greater kindness, traffic flow appears smoother, and events unfold harmoniously? This isn't by chance. Your vibrational field becomes an invitation for the cosmos to operate in your favor. Conversely, when angry, disappointed, or in a hurry, trivialities transform into barriers. Your coffee overflows, the traffic light turns red, someone reacts harshly, and you mentally repeat, "I knew this day would be terrible." And the universe, complacently, pronounces, "As you wish." Therefore, the first stage in transforming your existence doesn't lie in changing your profession, nor your romantic relationship, nor your home. It consists of modifying your vibration. Everything you desire already exists, it's simply on a vibrational pattern that you are not yet radiating. It's like trying to tune into a song on the wrong frequency. The harmony is present, but interference obstructs your perception. The task is to calibrate your inner tuner until the sound becomes clear. Ask yourself, then, what am I broadcasting at this exact moment? If your consciousness is filled with worries, change direction. If your body feels contracted, breathe in. If your emotions are heavy, find something, anything, that sparks joy within you. Make this a habit. Because, as you gain mastery over your vibration, the cosmos submits to it. It has no alternative. It merely reacts. Existence acts as a mirror that reflects, with exact accuracy, the energy you radiate. Nothing that manifests is truly against you, everything is a vibrational reverberation of what dwells within you. It's intriguing, because numerous individuals assume they are hostages to circumstances, when, in reality, they are co-responsible for every experience they go through. Every thought is a seed, and every emotion is fertile ground for its development. If your consciousness nourishes apprehension, uncertainty, or resentment, do not expect to reap tranquility, abundance, or affection. The cosmos does not operate with words, it functions with vibrational patterns. And your emotional state represents the most powerful vibration in existence. Have you ever observed how your state of mind is capable of completely transforming your day? Waking up with irritability is like tuning your receiver to a station of interference. Everything that follows seems to corroborate your perception. Traffic worsens, people appear ruder, and adverse events multiply. However, on a day when you emerge in serenity, suddenly the same congestion seems to move faster, people offer you smiles, and the cosmos appears to cooperate. It's the same world, the same city, the identical circumstances, only the vibration of your energy has changed. This assertion isn't limited to philosophy. Science has already endorsed the knowledge that ancient predecessors held for thousands of years. Investigations from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology have shown that tiny particles react differently according to the observer. This implies that your perception models the behavior of the substance itself. If, at the most fundamental stratum of existence, energy reacts to your consciousness, then why would it be any different in daily life? Every one of your emotions represents a vibration that informs the cosmos of what you are capable of receiving. Consider a physical mirror. It never lies, it doesn't select what to reproduce. If you smile, it returns the gesture. If you furrow your brow, it returns the identical expression. Existence fulfills precisely this role, but with your vibration. When you resonate in lack, the universe presents you with more reasons to experience absence. When you resonate in gratitude, it multiplies the reasons to express appreciation. It is a rule as rigorous as gravitational attraction, and gravitational attraction never makes a mistake. I recall a period when I persisted in frustration, trapped by the conviction that the world was unjust. I observed prosperous individuals and questioned, why them and not me? With each repetition of that pattern, the feeling of deprivation intensified. And the universe, complacently, continued to show me more scenarios of scarcity. The turning point came when I understood that it wasn't the world denying me something, but rather I who was blocking the flow of abundance by radiating bitterness and envy. The moment I began to value instead of covet, something shifted. My perception expanded to new perspectives, and opportunities one hadn't even noticed before began to emerge. The vibration you radiate becomes the lens through which you view existence. If your focus falls on adversity, adversity amplifies. If your focus lies in resolution, resolution manifests. How many times have you found that by immersing yourself too much in what went wrong, you become unable to see what can still turn out positively? This happens because the human mind is conditioned to validate what it believes in. When you think, nothing works out for me, your neurological system seeks evidence to support that belief. However, when you shift your thinking to the conviction that there is always a solution, your mind begins to identify paths and opportunities. The reflection of existence mirrors what you hold to be true. I've seen this principle operate on countless occasions, both in my own journey and in the lives of people I've worked with. A woman sought me out, claiming she felt the cosmos was conspiring against her. She lost her job, her romantic relationship ended, and even her car broke down, all within the same 2 weeks. When we examined her daily emotional patterns, we noticed that every morning she would declare, "This is going to be another difficult period." And the cosmos, loyal to her frequency, responded, "As you wish." We changed just one element, her initial thought upon waking. Instead of lamenting, she began to affirm, "Today, the cosmos is revealing new paths for me." In less than 3 weeks, a new professional opportunity emerged, and she started a romantic relationship that she described as the smoothest of her life. Energetic frequency constitutes the imperceptible foundation of all manifest reality. Everything originates in the realm of emotions, preceding its physical materialization. To change outcomes, it's necessary to alter the reflection, and this only happens by transforming what stands before the reflected image. The external environment doesn't change if the internal remains constant. True metamorphosis lies not in opposing conditions, but in choosing the frequency with which you react to them. Life will continue to challenge you until you learn to react differently. As long as your response is anger, the universe will persist in giving you reasons for exasperation. When you react with serenity, the circumstances that previously unsettled you begin to fade away. And the most captivating aspect is that no effort is required. Energy is self-sufficient. When you change your frequency, the cosmos restructures everything around you: people, events, agreements, possibilities. Imagine a radio broadcasting station. You don't need to shout to change the song, you just turn the dial and tune into a different frequency. The same applies to your life's path. There's no need to fight reality, simply change your own frequency. And that tuning is defined by the nature of your thoughts and emotions. When you understand this premise, mastery returns to your possession. You move from being a victim to becoming the architect of your life. There are no longer unfavorable journeys, only periods when your vibrational frequency is out of balance. The reflection is not your antagonist, it merely mirrors what you present. Therefore, if you wish to see beauty, serenity, and abundance reflected back, begin your projection from within. Because life doesn't react to what you verbally request, but rather to what you manifest in terms of frequency. The totality of existence begins with a clear decision. Not a trivial resolution, but one that emanates from the core of your being, from the part of you that knows precisely what it desires, even when your rational mind still hesitates. Most people go through life waiting to feel ready to act. They believe they need more time, more knowledge, more certainty, yet the truth is that confidence only emerges after the decision has been made, never before. It is the vitality of choice that propels the cosmos. When you genuinely decide, your surroundings begin to restructure to harmonize with your new vibration. I vividly recall the time I served in the Toronto Fire Department. I had a steady routine and a certain income, but deep inside, there was an unease, a quiet voice telling me something greater awaited me. The challenge was not knowing what it was, nor how to begin. It was during that period that a man named Raymond Douglas Stanford placed a book in my hands, Think and Grow Rich, by Napoleon Hill. I read those pages with skepticism, but something in them deeply touched me. It was as if a light had switched on in a room whose darkness I hadn't even recognized. At that time, I lacked academic qualifications, connections, and capital. However, I made a decision: I would not spend the rest of my life merely reacting to events. I would build. It was that simple choice that altered the course of everything. I left my post, without any safety net, and founded a small cleaning company. I had no knowledge of business management, but I was driven by a singular energetic force, the vitality of internal conviction. And in less than 12 months, that endeavor provided me with an income exceeding $100,000. Not because I had become a business prodigy, but because a transformation had occurred within me. An authentic decision is vibrational in nature. It's not just about saying, "I want," but rather physically experiencing that such an aspiration has already materialized. It's the moment when you stop fighting fear and choose to act even with trembling. Most people don't grasp this truth. They say, "I'll try," but trying denotes a lukewarm, ambiguous frequency that doesn't generate momentum. The cosmos responds only to what is clear, determined, and committed. Have you noticed that when you decide something with firmness, everything seems to manifest in an almost enchanting way? Opportune individuals appear, ideas sprout, improbable coincidences align. This isn't mere chance, it's resonance. Your new frequency attracts components congruent with it. When you remain hesitant, the universe stays silent. It doesn't know which frequency to respond to. However, when there is clarity, it springs into action. I recall a specific event during the early days of my venture. A significant contract was in contention, and everything indicated my inability to fulfill it. Reason whispered, "It's unattainable," but my gut feeling cried out, "Have faith." So, I sat down, closed my eyes, and imagined the outcome as if it were already a reality. I experienced the feeling of triumph before its materialization. And the following morning, a phone call changed the entire landscape. The previously hesitant buyer not only sealed the deal but also recommended me to other associates. It was at that moment that I understood that a decision transcends a mere mental operation. It is an energetic directive dispatched to the cosmos. One might consider it a coincidence, but science elucidates this from a different perspective. When the human brain makes a decision with emotional involvement, it emits harmonic waves that restructure the neural system and stimulate regions associated with perception and inventiveness. For this reason, when you genuinely commit to something, you appear to discern solutions that were once imperceptible. Your focus shifts, and your vibrational spectrum broadens. The power of decision also annihilates fear. Fear represents the wavering between two realities, the one you possess and the one you desire. When you decide, apprehension loses ground, as there is no longer uncertainty. The cosmos does not support the hesitant, it favors the determined. And the omission of a choice already constitutes a decision, albeit one in favor of stagnation. People commonly state they are waiting for the opportune moment. However, the right moment doesn't exist, it is forged. It is the frequency of your choice that brings it forth. I had no sensible reason to believe that a firefighter, without a higher education, could ascend to a fortune of millions and become a global speaker. Yet, I chose to believe. And the cosmos, as usual, simply reacted. Do you wish to know the key that distinguishes those who merely dream from those who achieve? It is simple: the former wait for the feeling of security before acting, while the latter act until conviction manifests. Motivated action forges emotion, not the reverse. It's similar to plunging into cold water. The body resists until the moment of immersion, and then you realize its tolerability. If you persist in expecting all solutions before taking the initial step, you will wait for your entire life. Clarity emerges along the journey. Life force reveals itself when you move. The cosmos does not guide those who remain inert, it guides those who enable themselves to proceed. Every decision constitutes an act of faith in yourself and in the boundless wisdom that governs the universe. When you align with this power, you don't need to decipher how events will unfold. You just need to be certain that it will happen. The how is the cosmos's assignment, the when depends on your belief. Therefore, reflect: what have you postponed deciding out of fear of making mistakes? How many opportunities were lost because you waited for an external sign, when the authentic signal resided within you all along? Life force accompanies volition. And when volition is resolute, the cosmos submits to its firmness. Decision is the landmark where the immaterial begins to take shape. When you choose with your soul, the unattainable bows. Because existence is not about having certainties, but about displaying courage. And every time you dare to choose what inspires you, The cosmos in its entirety conspires to affirm your truth. Wealth is an energetic manifestation, and like all energy, it flows toward what aligns with its vibration. It lacks morality, judgment, and doesn't submit to worthiness, it merely reacts to the frequency you radiate. For this reason, some individuals seem to attract it effortlessly, while others spend their entire lives chasing it without ever catching it. The distinction between them lies not in luck, nor in aptitude, but in their inner frequency. Wealth moves toward those who value it and away from those who fear it. Over many years, I've observed this phenomenon in others and in myself. I was conditioned to believe that money was dirty, that it required intense effort, sacrificing health and time to acquire. This belief erected an invisible barrier, an energetic block between me and abundance. The transformation only came when I understood that money wasn't the problem, but rather my emotional relationship with it. By seeing it as an ally, a natural flow of life, its circulation became easy. There's a fascinating study from Princeton University that shows money impacts real happiness only up to approximately $75,000 annually. Beyond that threshold, it stops buying joy and instead reveals the emotional state of its possessor. In other words, money doesn't transform you, it amplifies who you already are. If within you there's scarcity, fear, and insecurity, more wealth will only intensify those vibrations. However, if gratitude, confidence, and purpose exist within your being, it will become an instrument of expansion. I witnessed this firsthand with a man who became my client years ago. He was sharp, dedicated, but lived in debt. He complained about everything: taxes, the cost of living, rich people. He'd say, "Wealth is for the few." This phrase, repeated daily, shaped his reality. When we worked together, we didn't talk about finances, but about energy. I shifted his focus from "I don't have" to "money flows to me with ease." He found it strange at first, but he trusted. 3 months later, he received an unexpected promotion, an old client paid off a forgotten debt, and a new opportunity arose. Nothing changed in the external world, only within him. The universe is a perfect vibrational field, and money is one of the most tangible forms of energy circulating within it. It doesn't like to be trapped, because stagnant energy stagnates. The people who prosper most aren't those who accumulate, but those who allow the flow. They understand that giving and receiving are movements of the same dance. When you give with gratitude, be it time, knowledge, or resources, you create space for more to circulate back to you. Energy needs movement, and the fear of losing is what blocks the current of abundance. There's a significant moment in my life that I've never forgotten. I was still starting out and, even with limited resources, I decided to help a family in need. That day, I gave away practically everything I owned. It felt irrational, but it seemed right. 2 weeks later, an opportunity appeared out of nowhere, a contract that multiplied that value countless times. That taught me something I carry to this day: the universe rewards trust. When you act with faith in abundance, you prove to the universe that you believe in it. But there's a detail many ignore: money doesn't respond to greed, it responds to gratitude. Whenever you say, "I hate paying bills," you're emitting rejection. You're saying energetically, "I don't want this energy to circulate." And, like everything in nature, money moves away from where it's not welcome. I changed this habit. Today, every time I pay a bill, I say to myself, "I am grateful to have received enough to cover this." This simple change creates a cycle of prosperity, as it transforms the act of spending into an act of acknowledgement. The same applies to the words you use. How many times have you said, "I can't afford that," or "That's too expensive for me"? Each of those phrases is a vibrational declaration of limitation. The universe doesn't argue, it merely confirms, "as you wish." Language is energy in the form of sound, and sound is vibration. When you change your words, you alter your frequency. And when you alter your frequency, money begins to perceive you. Remember, money is a consequence, not a cause. It is the natural result of a mind in harmony with abundance. People who live chasing it are vibrating in lack, for the very act of seeking carries the message, "I don't have." But when you become someone who vibrates prosperity, money comes to you. It's like a magnetic field that attracts opportunities, connections, and solutions. I learned this painfully, but definitively. Once, a mentor asked me, "Do you want to be right, or do you want to get results?" I realized that for years, I had been defending my limiting beliefs about money, and they kept me stuck. The moment I abandoned them, something opened within me. I began to see opportunities that had always been there, but I hadn't had the eyes to see them. Money isn't a destination, it's a mirror of your consciousness. It honestly shows how you relate to the flow of life. And life rewards those who flow. So, the next time you touch a banknote or look at your account balance, pause for an instant and feel gratitude. Recognize that that value is a form of living energy, constantly moving, and the more you bless it, the more it returns. Abundance isn't about how much you possess, but about who you are. The universe doesn't respond to desire, but to vibration. And when you become someone who radiates confidence, gratitude, and generosity, money has no choice, it simply finds its way back to you. Your space speaks for you even before you open your mouth. I learned this in practice. A cluttered environment doesn't just distract, it erodes decisions, drains creativity, and diminishes your ability to perceive opportunities. It's not moralizing about tidiness, it's physics applied to your life. Every object, every color, every sound in your visual field sends messages to your subconscious and, consequently, to the energetic field you emit to the world. A flickering light fixture, a monitor cluttered with windows, a pile of papers staring at you, all of this acts as noise, and noise reduces your signal. Have you ever felt that heaviness that appears when you enter a disorganized room? It's not just an impression, it's your biology reacting. When I entered other people's offices and felt that pressure in my chest, I realized it wasn't just aesthetics. Once, I was hired by an entrepreneur whose product was excellent, but the results weren't coming. I entered the office and felt a dense pressure, flickering fluorescent lights, piles of paper, uncomfortable chairs, a continuous flow of complaints coming from the hallway. It wasn't just a leadership problem, it was an entire field sabotaging decisions. We made simple changes, desk realigned facing the window, clutter eliminated, a plant in the corner, warm lights instead of cold ones. In 3 weeks, decision-making drastically improved, and productivity increased by 70%. This isn't magic, it's practical science. Studies demonstrate what was already obvious to anyone working with people. Environments with plants improve attention and reduce fatigue. Natural light regulates circadian rhythms and improves mood. Colors have a direct impact on cognitive function. Blue stimulates creativity, green calms, red heightens attention to detail. And small changes produce disproportionate results. You don't need to redecorate your entire home, you need intention. If you want to transform your daily life, here's the step-by-step process I use and teach, practical, immediate, and tested by hundreds of clients. Do a 60-second visual scan. Sit in your chair, look around, and mentally note 2 things that energize you and 2 that drain you. Don't overthink it, your body already knows. Eliminate the most obvious noise, throw away, digitize, or file papers that don't require immediate action. Visual piles are nests of procrastination. Adjust the light. If possible, move your desk close to a window. If not, replace cold lights with lamps that have a warmer, softer tone in your direct field of vision. Add life. A simple plant in the corner improves air quality and sends a message to your brain: beware, there is vitality here. Don't underestimate the symbolic effect. Define an entry ritual. Before you start working, turn your chair, take 3 breaths, write down your main intention for the day on a note, and stick it in front of you. This small ritual changes your body's chemistry. Control the digital sensory load. Close unnecessary tabs, use an instrumental playlist for focus, and keep notifications on silent during blocks of concentrated work. Reinforce energy circulation, open windows for 10 minutes upon waking, move, stretch, and let the air circulate. Physical stagnation generates mental stagnation. These steps aren't mystical practices, they are interactions between environment, body, and mind that create coherence. When the field around you becomes coherent, your decisions become clearer and your emotions more stable. Think about it. How many times have you let a good idea die due to a lack of clarity in the environment? How many negotiations were lost because the room signaled chaos and neglect? I want to recount a tiny adjustment that created an immense transformation. For 1 week, I removed all visual material from my office walls, just the white and the visual silence. Initially, I felt a strangeness, however, I noticed my thinking became clearer, and words came with greater precision. By reintroducing only what truly inspired me, an image of a significant moment, a brief sentence, I felt each item began to function as fuel instead of noise. The sensation was one of profound relief, almost like taking off a wet coat. This lightness is crucial, it's when you allow yourself to think big. And now, a 7-day roadmap to experience and prove for yourself. Day 1, a 60-second scan and the elimination of one accumulation. Day 2, adjust the lighting and add a small plant. Day 3, a daily entry ritual. Day 4, reorganize your workspace so that the main view is something that motivates you. Day 5, try working 90 minutes without interruptions. Day 6, evaluate which dialogues and sounds around you exhaust you and minimize them. Day 7, note 3 differences you observed in clarity, mood, and opportunities. Perform this small experiment and observe. The usual objections are predictable: I don't have time, I don't have space, or I can't do a renovation right now. Such are energetic justifications that perpetuate existing disorganization. Time is not invested in minutiae. Swap 10 minutes of your morning for a quick clean. Space is not a privilege. Rearranging a desk is an emanation of intention, not a major overhaul. And if you cohabit with other people, negotiate micro-regions, 20 minutes a day for your corner. Small concessions generate considerable benefits. Another resistance I hear is, this is merely organizing, it won't bring me clients. Mistake. Your environment acts as a focus filter. When your clarity increases, you discern connections, visualize solutions, and your form of expression transforms, and language attracts individuals. Clients don't arrive solely through advertising, they appear because they perceive cohesion in who you are. An aligned space conveys expertise, serenity, and credibility, everything the market values highly. Finally, remember, your environment is a purpose amplifier. You can possess the best strategy in the world, but if your space signals chaos, your words will lose vigor. Modify your space and then observe how the interactions around you transform, the quality of your decisions, and the speed with which opportunities arise. Start today with something minimal: an adjusted chair, one less piece of paper on your desk, and allow the frequency shift to begin working in your favor. When your environment starts to support your vibration, the universe no longer needs to guess what you desire. It simply responds. The vital force of the individuals around you shapes your existence in ways you may not even notice. You might wake up well, full of vigor, and just 10 minutes next to someone with negative energy is enough to feel your body heavy, your clarity diminish, and your vibration decay. This is not chance, it's science. Harvard investigations have demonstrated that the mere presence near a stressed person modifies your brain's biochemistry in a few minutes. Your brainwaves adjust, your hormones synchronize with the emotional state of others. It's as if your entire system tries to mirror the scenario. And this elucidates why some bonds exhaust and others strengthen. For many years, I didn't discern how much my energy was sucked by people who fed on complaint. They didn't act with ill intent, but they lived in a low vibrational state, and, by interacting with them, I ended up vibrating at the same frequency. I recall a period when, although all projects were prospering, I felt fatigued, irritated, and unproductive. Until I understood that the exhaustion didn't come from labor, but rather from coexistence. I spent hours in meetings with people who only discussed problems, and upon leaving, it felt as if something had drained my vitality. It was at this moment that I learned a powerful lesson: safeguarding one's energy is not selfishness, it is wisdom. Energy constitutes the most valuable asset you possess, and it determines everything: your thoughts, decisions, opportunities, and even your health. When you surround yourself with pessimistic individuals, you begin to assimilate their frequency, even unintentionally. The human brain possesses what scientists call mirror neurons, which drive us to unconsciously imitate the behavior and emotional state of those nearby. For this reason, when someone yawns, you yawn too. But this applies to denser emotions. When someone complains all the time, you begin to think and feel in a similar way. Over time, I realized that it wasn't necessary to abruptly distance myself from anyone in my life, but it was imperative to establish boundaries. I started to reduce the time spent with people who complained constantly, and, when their presence was inevitable, I prepared myself energetically beforehand. I closed my eyes, breathed deeply, and imagined a white light around my body, like a protective barrier. It may seem symbolic, but the truth is that any ritual that directs your intention changes your biology. Studies on the placebo effect show that the simple act of believing you are protected alters brain function and reduces stress levels. And here lies a crucial point: the energy you tolerate is the energy you perpetuate. If you persist in listening to the same lamentations daily, you are consolidating that vibrational field. It's like tuning into a radio station that only plays noise and then wondering why you don't hear music. By raising your own frequency, you naturally begin to distance yourself from people and environments that no longer align with your new energy level. Not because you have become superior, but because you vibrate differently. I recall a friend I valued very much, but who lived in a cycle of pessimism. All our conversations ended with phrases like, "Things never work out for me," or "Life is really challenging." At first, I tried hard to help him, but I always ended up drained. Until one day I decided to impose a silent limit. I reduced our dialogues to 20 minutes weekly, and, when we were together, I deliberately redirected the focus to positive topics. Gradually, I observed that he began to modify his tone, and I, simultaneously, began to feel lighter. I learned that it is not necessary to distance yourself from everyone, but it is essential to lead the vibration of the environment instead of being dominated by it. This applies to work, friendships, and even family. There are people you cannot avoid, but you can control how much they influence you. Before a tense meeting, I have the habit of mentally aligning myself, stating, "I choose to maintain my peace, regardless of what happens." This simple phrase changes the entire dynamic. It is a reminder that your energy is your responsibility. And there is an aspect that many disregard: sometimes, the toxic person is you. When you live in constant complaint, criticism, and doubt, it is you who becomes the noise in the vibrational field of others. Negative energy does not come from external sources, it is nourished internally. The initial step to elevate your vibration is to take full responsibility for the frequency you are emitting. I recall a client who claimed inability to maintain lasting friendships because no one was any good. Upon analysis, I realized that she dedicated entire encounters to discussing problems and pains. She didn't realize that she was draining the energy of everyone around her. When she improved her vibration and began to address solutions, aspirations, and gratitude, the right people began to appear. This is what I call the law of resonance: like attracts like. There is an assertion that I always reiterate: you are the energetic average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. This is not a figure of speech, it is a literal observation. Research from universities like Harvard and Brown indicates that emotions and behaviors spread through human social networks up to 3 degrees of separation. That is, the mood of a friend of your friend can impact yours. Happiness and success are contagious, as are pessimism and fear. So, perform a simple test. Write the names of the 5 people you spend the most time with and, next to each one, describe how you feel after spending time with them. Energized or exhausted? Inspired or irritated? Joyful or tense? If more than 2 of those people drain you, it's time to re-evaluate your circle. You cannot fly like an eagle if you keep walking with chickens. And if, up to this point, these words are making sense to you, if somehow you are perceiving how everything is energy, click like and subscribe to the channel right now. This is not just a symbolic gesture, it is a vibrational declaration. When you connect with content that elevates your frequency, you are telling the universe, "I want to keep growing." And the universe always responds to that intention. Remember, your human environment is the gauge of your evolution. Choosing with whom to share your time is choosing who contributes to shaping your future. When you surround yourself with people who vibrate faith, purpose, and enthusiasm, your own vibration automatically rises. Your mind expands, you act with more confidence, and you perceive opportunities previously ignored. For the truth is direct: the universe does not deliver what you ask for, but what resonates with your energy. And the energy of those around you is a reflection of what you believe you deserve. Fear is a cunning artist. It paints scenarios so real in our minds that it makes us believe in the imminence of falling, even before the first move. Criticism, then, echoes, reinforcing the questions: what if I fail? What if nobody trusts me? What if I lose everything? Fascinating how the human mind works, isn't it? It always anticipates the worst, without first considering the best. And often, you wake up to that voice: today won't work, what if I ruin everything? Unbeknownst to you, your day begins vibrating on the frequency of defense, not expansion. The truth is, by trying to avoid judgment, you'll remain hidden from your own potential. Because success, growth, and progress demand an almost childlike audacity to stumble publicly, to pick yourself up, readjust, and press on. I was the target of reprimands, ridicule, and disbelief. There was a time when, stepping onto the stage, my hands trembled so much I nearly dropped my notes. I had heard hours before that I wasn't prepared, that I wasn't the type to inspire anyone. And as I gazed at the audience, I felt that ancient fear rise, wanting to remind me of who I had been, a boy without a degree, without direction, who had quit jobs and wandered aimlessly. But something in me decided that that day, I wouldn't be a reflection of the past. I didn't fight the fear. I identified it. And even with my heart pounding, I spoke. My voice, at first, came out hesitant, but I continued. At the end of the event, one person came up, eyes teary, saying that message had changed their life. It's peculiar, sometimes, someone is waiting for your courage to find their own. When fear arises, and it will, pause and ask, is it a real alert, or an old narrative clinging to life? Take a personal inventory. Breathe deeply. Feel the air enter slowly and visualize your spine aligning, your feet firming on the ground. Place one hand on your chest and say in silence, I allow myself to move forward despite this. Don't fight the fear, guide it. Because when you try to suppress it, it grows. When you guide it, it diminishes. The figures you admire aren't fearless, they simply act even with tremors. And always ask, what truly troubles me here? Is it financial setback? Is it disapproval? Is it the perception of being inadequate? Most don't fear failure, they fear being seen in their failure. And that's why they cycle through the same life, the same salary, the same patterns, year after year. They wait for emotional stability to act. When the truth is that security comes from action, it never precedes it. I usually practice an exercise when I feel immersed in uncertainty. I close my eyes and visualize two portals. The first, the one of apprehension, always appears familiar, predictable, and protected. However, behind it lies the same flaw, the same old walls. The second portal, that of bravery, is sometimes dark, without guarantees, without an easy path. But every time I chose that passage, I encountered opportunities, individuals, possibilities, and experiences I would never have discovered if I had hidden myself. And the most intriguing part? Many of these victories were just one choice beyond fear. When faced with a daunting step forward, make this small vow to yourself: I'll do it for just the next 10 seconds. 10 seconds. It's all it takes to send a message, raise your hand in a meeting, say, I accept, ask for a date, record that clip, make the first move. Courage doesn't require a lifetime, it demands a brief span of time. And brief spans change trajectories. There's a powerful principle: speak less about your fears and act more on them. By giving too many words to fear, it gains proportion. By moving your body despite it, it dissipates. If you feel butterflies in your stomach, great, it means you're touching a boundary. And expansion only happens at the frontiers. Don't seek the absence of fear. Seek the skill to advance with it by your side, like a shadow that doesn't dictate your path. Nowadays, when I'm criticized, I observe. Sometimes, I laugh. Sometimes, I give thanks. Because every time someone questions you, the universe asks, who do you choose to be now? The reflection of others' opinions, or the expression of the vision you carry? And when you respond with action, not defense, you send a clear signal to the universe: I am ready for what is mine. So, if today there's an idea, a plan, a conversation you're avoiding out of fear of seeming foolish, inadequate, or overly bold, that's the right path. You're not seeking a small, comfortable existence. You yearn for a life that makes your heart vibrate, your soul engage, your spirit flourish. And that requires one attitude: to value what you want to build more than what you fear letting go of. Inhale. Feel. Believe. You're not here to please. You're here to progress. And whenever you choose to listen more to potential than to fear, you become unstoppable. Gratitude isn't a beautiful gesture, nor a spiritual ritual, nor a superficial "thank you." Gratitude is a state of vibration. It's a frequency. And when you truly achieve it, your reality has no option but to respond. You see, when you complain, even in thought, you tell the universe, "I don't have," there's lack, scarcity, problems. And the universe, obliging, returns more of that. Now, when you give thanks, sincerely, with emotion, you declare, "I have, I receive, I am capable." And then, hidden doors open. Most seek abundance, but vibrate in lack. They want to prosper, but ignore the small daily miracles. They see their bank statement and only perceive numbers, when they could see energy in transition, fluidity, existence. I remember a period when expenses seemed like a burden. Not because of the amount, but because of the emotion they generated. Every time a bill arrived, I felt my chest tighten, my energy drain. Until the day I decided to act differently. Upon receiving a bill, I would say softly, almost whispering, "Thank you." This proves I have electricity, water, infrastructure, options. Initially, it sounded strange, almost mocking, since the mind is conditioned to reject the new, but I persisted. And something remarkable happened: the heavy feeling gave way to relief. I started paying with more clarity, lightness, and curiously, almost as if by magic, I started receiving more as well. Not because the charges changed, but because my vibration changed. The frequency of gratitude removes the armor of financial fear. Many live repeating, "When I have more, then I'll be grateful." And that's the mistake that holds so many back. No one prospers, spiritually or materially, waiting for the ideal scenario. You don't give thanks when everything comes because you give thanks. Try this simple experiment: every morning, before your feet touch the floor, think of 3 things you're grateful for. It could be having a roof over your head, the aroma of coffee, someone who loves you, or even the mistakes that taught you. 3. Science has proven, those who maintain this habit have greater emotional stability, better performance, and make wiser financial choices. It's not chance, it's frequency. Now, expand the practice. Throughout the day, look for small opportunities to be grateful. Did someone hold a door? Give thanks internally. Did your meal arrive? Inhale before the first bite and be grateful. Did you park faster than expected? Give thanks. These small successes build a great flow. Persistence forms a rhythm. And the universe responds to rhythm, not to disinterested intention. You see, continuous gratitude trains the mind to notice what works, and when you see what works, you naturally create more of it. It's neuroscience and spirituality in unison. There's also a recognition that few cultivate: anticipatory gratitude. You don't give thanks for having, you give thanks because it's already yours on the vibrational plane. If you desire a new job, give thanks as if you've already obtained it. If you seek to close a deal, give thanks before the session. If you long for peace in relationships, give thanks for harmony as if you already experience it. This isn't illusion. It's energetic resonance. Your essence needs to experience internally before externalizing. And I can guarantee, all success begins in emotion, not in the result. There's an even deeper level: gratitude for affliction. It's an advanced point. But reflect, how many of your great evolutions were born from tough moments? Who would you be without the failures, without the sleepless nights, without the losses that taught you to appreciate what matters? Life hits its mark with the experiences it offers. Gratitude for bitter learning generates vibrational maturity. And that attracts abundance with foundation, order, and continuity. I offer a 7-day challenge. During that time, whenever you handle money, be it a bill, a card, a coin, or your phone screen with the banking app, pause for 3 seconds and think, I am grateful. I attract more. 3 seconds. That's all. You'll feel a change in your body, light breathing, an open chest, a clear mind. And soon you'll notice something unique, opportunities, small and large, emerging from unpredictable places. An inspiration, a client who reappears, an invitation, a previously remote solution. This practice modifies financial vibration, for it cleanses resentments, anxiety, and scarcity. The truth is that gratitude connects who you are today to who you will become. The moment you understand this, the logic changes. It's no longer about achieving to then be grateful, but about being grateful to then receive. Life responds to what you emit, not what you ask for. And when the vibration is gratitude, the universe doesn't deliver crumbs, it offers abundance with structure, alignment, durability. It's not luck. It's frequency. It's consistency. And it begins when you decide to see the riches that already exist around you, now. Your environment is a silent mirror. It reflects what you project, and often shapes your life without you realizing it. How many times have you woken up focused, with clear plans, only for encountering someone complaining, seeing bad news on TV, or hearing lamentations and phrases like, nothing works, at work, to make your energy plummet? Suddenly, focus turns into uncertainty, enthusiasm turns into fatigue, clarity turns into irritation. It wasn't chance. It was vibrational contamination. Your surroundings drained your frequency. And the most fascinating, and frightening, part is that most of the time, this happens without noise, without warning, without emotional alarm. You just adjust downwards, like someone unknowingly turning down the volume of their soul. I went through this at the beginning of my journey. When I yearned for more from life, surrounded by those content with very little, I felt like every day I had to fight against the current. I remember entering places where the air felt heavy, as if stagnant thoughts were clinging to the walls. And that's exactly what it was. People arguing, complaining about the government, the leader, the weather, their luck, and when I left my heart too open, unprotected, I would leave feeling smaller than when I arrived. It was then that I learned one of the most difficult lessons. You don't change your reality with the same conversations, in the same places, feeding off the same energies. You might have good intentions, big goals, visualize the future with great conviction, but if your environment doesn't support your dreams, it will swallow them whole. And here's a crucial detail, it's not about abandoning people or being cold. It's about choosing who has access to your vibration. There's a huge difference between loving someone and allowing that person to dictate your emotional state. I had dear, close people, but their world was filled with complaints, fear, and pessimism. At first, I tried to rescue them, to be a light. But I realized that to lift others, you first need to be firmly rooted in an energy that doesn't falter. Otherwise, you won't pull anyone up, you'll just sink together. So, I started limiting my interactions, adjusting the tone of conversations, choosing my circles more carefully. When necessary, I even walked alone. And it was curious, when my energy rose, new people appeared, as if the universe was waiting for me to make space. Consider this now, observe the 5 people you spend the most time with. Don't criticize them, just notice how you feel when you're around them. Do you leave feeling energized or drained? With new ideas or exhausted? More confident or burdened by others' doubts? Because, without realizing it, we repeat phrases, adopt fears, absorb beliefs, and even mirror the posture of those around us. The body doesn't lie. In a place aligned with your expansion, you breathe better, your shoulders relax, you feel lightness in your abdomen, and ideas emerge. In a misaligned environment, you feel tension in your neck, your breathing is shallow, your eyebrows furrow. Your body is the first to alert you when something isn't aligned with your future. And if you say, there's no choice, my job, my home, my relationships are just how they are, I assert, you always choose what you assimilate. Start by organizing your space. A clean, well-lit, and orderly environment elevates your vibration. Choose uplifting music, reduce harmful conversations, protect your morning from negative news. Imagine an inner door and decide who enters. A powerful tactic is to create small rituals, Before seeing someone difficult, breathe, visualize light surrounding your body, and say, "I maintain my energy." It seems simple, almost childish, but it works because it trains your mind not to merge with external energies. There's also the inverse: you become the emitter. One day, I entered a room with a heavy atmosphere, tense faces, burdened gazes, the feeling that everything would go wrong. Instead of adjusting myself, I breathed, smiled, greeted everyone with enthusiasm, and said, "Today is a good day for us to solve something important together." The atmosphere shifted. Not because of what I said, but because of what I vibrated. It's not about controlling people, it's about attuning the environment to you before it attunes you. People sense the energy before the words. So ask yourself, does the environment around me propel my future or chain me to the past? Start with the small choices: your workspace, what you consume, the voices you listen to most often. With each adjustment, you send a signal to the universe: I am ready for my greater version. And by doing that, life responds. It always responds. Because vibration isn't just a mere detail, it's the field where your reality takes shape. And when you decide to align your internal and external environment with who you are becoming, opportunities appear as if they were always there, waiting for you to vibrate high enough to see them. There's a moment, almost imperceptible, when most people give up. It's not due to a lack of resources, nor to genuine obstacles. They give up when the mind whispers, "It's taking too long, maybe it's not for you, who do you think you are?" And it's right there, in that exact millimeter between continuing and stopping, that the universe observes your stance and decides if you are fit for what you have requested. Many people think that changing life is like flipping a switch, but real change is more like building a bonfire on a cold night. It starts with sparks, you blow gently, protect the fragile flame from the wind, and gradually, the warmth grows. If you give up before the embers ignite, you will never see the light it would generate. I've seen many capable people give up too soon by mistaking delay for failure. They planted, they watered, but without seeing fruit within the expected time, they abandoned the garden. And something remarkable I learned is that the result doesn't always come when you want it, but rather when you've grown enough to sustain it. Life doesn't offer grand opportunities to a weak emotional structure. It first strengthens you. And often, this strengthening comes in silence, through tests, on days when you do everything right and nothing happens. On those days, you are not being punished, you are being prepared. There was a period in my life when, even after a financial and personal leap forward, I felt a deep emptiness. Nothing flowed as it had before, promising meetings turned into cancellations, well-defined projects evaporated. The old insecurity tried to creep back in. Was it just luck? What if it's over? It was then that I decided not to fight against the silence. I listened. I sat with myself and reorganized my energy, refined my vision, deepened my discipline. As if a barrier had opened, opportunities far vaster than the previous ones began to emerge. There was no chance. There was persistence. I held firm, even when the easiest path would have been to find a reason to give up. To press on is not obstinacy devoid of reason. To press on is to remain in progress with full awareness, with discernment, with active belief. And active belief implies acting even when common sense suggests retreating. Do you want an illustrative case? On how many occasions have you started a habit, be it meditation, studying, physical exercise, financial management, and the first time it became uncomfortable, you just skipped it for today? And when you realized it, several weeks had already passed, and you were returning to your usual behavior. It's not an absence of talent, it's an absence of consistency. Existence bends to those who persist. And yes, there will be discomfort. Growth always tears a bit at the old structure. I suggest you pay attention to your body when the inclination to give up arises. Do your shoulders slump? Does your breathing become shallow? Is there a tightness in your chest? This is not an indication to stop. It's a sign of rearrangement. It's your neural system adapting to a new energy frequency. Breathe deeply, plant your feet firmly on the ground, and say to yourself, I keep going. Just that. A simple choice reiterated thousands of times builds futures that appear as miracles to external observers. However, we understand that it's not a miracle, it's alignment combined with perseverance combined with serenity. There's an inherent progression in every triumph: purpose, execution, refinement, stillness, realization. The majority give up during the phase of stillness because they don't discern its relevance. However, those who navigate this period with dignity, who choose to radiate confidence instead of nervousness, transform into something unbeatable. And unbeatable is a term of great power. It means that nothing can obstruct the arrival of what already belongs to you in energetic essence, as long as you remain in the domain where that reality persists. Thus, in every moment of uncertainty, remember, the cosmos is not uttering a no. It is asking, can you endure being the person you declared you aspire to be? Press on. Move forward on days of joy and on days of weariness. Take initiative when everything is clear and, especially, when nothing seems logical. Because, at a certain point, what once seemed distant becomes part of everyday life. What was aspiration turns into routine. And what once demanded effort begins to flow spontaneously. It is always this way. Invariably. And when that occasion arrives, it won't come as a surprise, but as a confirmation. For a part of your being already recognized, from the very first movement, that stopping was never an option. And as you continue to assimilate all this wisdom, keep in mind, existence is constantly reacting to your vibration, even during periods when it appears silent. Continue sowing purpose, attention, and effort, and notice how opportunities begin to move towards you, almost without a sound, initially as a whisper, then as a tangible reality. And before we move on to the subsequent stage of this journey, do something impactful. Share this video material with someone you believe could benefit from these explanations. At times, a single message strikes at the precise moment and completely alters a person's perspective. Become the means for that to come to fruition. Grateful for your presence with me today, for dedicating your time to building your highest version. I await you in the next audio-visual production. We have much more to uncover together.